Hey everybody, I'm here with our student Nick. He's our dear client from the United Kingdom who has a very interesting story about how he started and how he scaled his cash on delivery business in Eastern Europe with our coaching program. In just under, I think, 6 to 7 months since he started, he's been able to slowly make his way up to a business that's, I would say, um, 80, 70, 80% automated, which allows him to work in an environment that actually brings joy and something that's predictable, not um, drop shipping, let's say, business where you're constantly fearing and struggling and dealing with all the problems in the world. But I don't want to do a whole hour-long introduction. I'm going to let him talk a little bit about himself, introduce himself to you, and I'm going to jump straight into the questions afterwards. If Nick, if you agree with that, that's perfect
Yeah,
for me.
that's fine with me. Thanks, Sergi. Thanks for the introduction. Hi, everybody. Like Sergi says, I've been in the program. Maybe I actually joined a little bit longer than that, but it's been 6 or 7 months since I would say I've really kind of got to grips with it and got going. I've done a few e-commerce ventures in the past. Um, Best way I'd put it is things really got going for me with Sergio and the COD business model when I managed to unlearn everything I'd done in the past and actually kind of followed the program and did what I was told. But it's been a great experience so far. I've done various different online business models, including e-com, for 5 years or so prior to doing this. Um, but what I've learned in the last few months and the way the business has gone in the last few months has been just brilliant for me. It's been a great experience for me and my family. So I'm kind of enjoying the prospect of just telling you more about it. Hopefully it'll just open up your eyes to what's possible with this model as well. Just really happy to be here and to chat with you about it today, Sergio.
How did you first discover me?
Well, we've been friends actually on Facebook for quite a while.
Mhm.
I think we just became friends through the ecom world on Facebook a few years ago. Um, we haven't really spoken for quite a long time, and then all of
There's
a
that's a
sudden,
there's a funny story on how we met. Actually, I think I'm not sure
yeah.
if you remember it, but maybe you can tell them so that they can actually make a little bit of fun of myself.
Well, I think we originally met because I was running a business model in UK and America around about 2015, 2016.
8 years ago.
Yeah, 8 years ago. And I'd done some training on this business model back then. And I think that's how you'd come to discover me originally. Um, and I was having a success back then, and you'd reached out to see if you could work with me. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen.
I was looking
Um,
for a job.
yeah, you were looking for a job.
I keep telling everybody that I was doing all kind of shady stuff, all kind of weird things to get things going, but they
Yeah,
didn't believe me. So now you're here in flesh and bones to
well,
prove my point.
exactly. And then, I mean, things just diverged at that point. Like, I went a different direction for a few years, didn't do any ecom for a few years. You went off, and because you didn't get your job, you had to go and learn it all for yourself and figure the whole model out for yourself. And then suddenly, things changed for me again. I was looking for a new business. I was kind of between ventures again, and you popped up again, having all this amazing success in Eastern Europe. And over the months, I saw it once or twice. I started to read a bit more, and then Facebook, I saw more and more and more of it. Until I thought, why don't I give this a go? This sounds like a
Mhm.
great opportunity. And that's kind of how it all started. Your success, your student success, was quite intoxicating. So I thought, why don't I get on a call and find out what this is all about?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Where in the whole process of working with us, where did you get the most value from? And what were the biggest, wow, let's say, aha moments?
I'd categorise the ahas into kind of macro and micro. Like the macro thinking, it was a big aha to me, just figuring out or learning from you how big the opportunity was. That was huge. Like understanding that there's this, not small area of the world where there's very little competition. People want to purchase, and want to purchase products that they can't in the same way that I can here in the UK, just like, get onto Amazon and pick up a product and get it delivered next day. There's parts of the world where people want to be able to do that for products and they can't, because they want to pay cash on delivery, they don't have a bank account, whatever it might be. So the opportunity, the amount of products that are available to sell to these people and the amount of people who want to take advantage is just on a scale that I'd never quite fathomed before. So that was the first aha. It was just like, wow, there is a huge opportunity here. And then the second, I guess, is just exactly how do you do this? Like, what does it look like to sell to these people? And coming from my ecom background, like I kind of hinted at earlier in the interview, I kind of thought I had that bit of the model cracked already, but it turns out that it's something quite different to sell to the market, in Romania and Eastern Europe, to what I've been used to. And a lot of the things that I used to do to sell in the US, to sell in the UK, didn't work. Like, fell flat on the faces. So I've actually wasted time in this program, trying to be too clever, trying to think I knew the answers myself.
I would cut this part of our interview and I just use it as an ad for every person that says that they have a bunch of experience in e-commerce. They've been doing millions with dropshipping in the US and they don't need any help in getting Eastern European started.
Yeah.
Because
well, it's just not
it's
true.
the exactly the percentages are exactly the other way around. It's 80-90% backend and maybe 10 to 20% front end. And you know it firsthand.
And once I kind of saw that, once I had that kind of aha, that's when things kind of started to take off for me with this business.
I remember when you started out and you had your employee or full-time employee from another part of the world and you were fully delegating everything. He was researching like hundreds of products a week, hundreds of products a month.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't working the way that he was expecting it to.
Yeah, I mean, I made the mistake of thinking that I could kind of delegate the brunt of the work out before fully understanding it myself. So, and it's a kind of, it's like an elementary mistake when you're outsourcing. You have to understand it yourself thoroughly before you get somebody else to do it. And I was kind of doing it the wrong way around, and I hold my hands up to that. But since I've got much more hands-on with the business myself, and really listened to what you say. And implement it as best I can, that's when things have really started happening for me.
So Nick, what do you think about the program that you have been through so far? Without any kind of fluff, how do you think that the experience was in working with me, working with Catalin? Subjectively, I wanted to hear it from you exactly as you would tell it to your wife.
Oh, I will. I mean, I've said it to her as well. It's been an amazing experience. Like, you guys do two things which most people can't do well. One is run a business, and not only you run it, but you kind of pioneered a business. Like, no one else, you're doing something which no one else did, right? You decided to take on a problem which is cracking cash on delivery e-com in Romania, Eastern Europe, and you cracked it in a way that I don't think anybody else has done. You've kind of pioneered a way, and you still run the business to this day. But not only do you run the business, but you've also successfully cracked teaching the business, which is a completely different skill. So that was one of the things which first, impressed me when we spoke and made me really want to work with you guys. Because, I mean, having a bit of ecom and a bit of teaching experience myself, I know that they're two completely different skills to be able to do. Everything you've laid out in your training, from the very first chat where you gave me the huge high-level overview of the business, down to when we jumped on calls and dived into the nitty-gritty of, what should be where on the landing page, how to structure every frame of the ad for best conversions. There's just been nothing left unturned, and that's besides the black book of contacts that you provide. So, I could just jump on WhatsApp and order product in China from somebody who can seemingly source any product I throw at her within like 5 minutes. I can order the product through WhatsApp and then have it shipped to someone else in Romania who's on my WhatsApp as well. It never ceases to amaze me that I can kind of sit in a village in England here in the middle of nowhere and just, connect China and Romania via WhatsApp. I've done high-ticket coaching programs, a few times over the years, ranging from, small thousands to high, like to 5-figure coaching programs. I've definitely learned from all of them. I haven't had particularly bad experiences, but the thing that sets yours apart is that it's just highly focused and targeted. Like it's not messing around. It's not teaching you some theory that you could then maybe go and apply to your own business, and if you apply it well, you might do well. It's honed in on this model. It just says do this. It's like paint by numbers. That's the closest I could say to paint by numbers for this business model. And if you do it, you make money. I mean, it's kind of as I couldn't put it clearer than that.
How do you think that the promise of the program is compared to what you can actually potentially achieve with the model? Because what we want ultimately is to teach people how to consistently, non-stop, without any kind of problems, headaches, any kind of nonsense in between, to reach 10,000 euros per month in net profit consistently. How achievable and how far or close to reach is that thing to reality, besides what you know right now compared to what you knew in the beginning, and how you see things at this current point?
Yeah, well, I mean, if without the program, I'd never have done that. There's no doubt about it. Not in this business, I just wouldn't have done it. I know that 100%. I would have failed at some of the things that I found challenging with as part of our coaching program that you and Catalin have pushed me through.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have been flat on the ground without the coaching. With the coaching, the only thing that's stopping you doing this, or anyone out there doing this, is the doing of it, right? Everything is laid out. You've gone beyond your promise in the sense that, you haven't put any time constraint on this whole thing, which has been just amazing. Like, I've been in coaching programs before where it's like, these are your calls, you have them for a month, and if you fail to have one for whatever reason, you don't get it back again, and then after a month you're kind of out. Yours is different. You have this promise, like you said, of reaching that number, and I've never had any doubt throughout the whole thing that you will kind of be there as long as that takes. So yeah, obviously you've got to put the work into this thing. It's not easy in the sense it can be hard work, but it's not complicated.
It's supposed to be hard work. We cannot just lay naked in a room. I mean, I have the bedroom here, but I'm not using it for that. What made you pull the trigger on joining the program and getting into it?
It was really the way you laid out the model, and not just the model, but you personally, the way you came across in the call, the way you presented the information, the obvious enthusiasm you had for the model, the success you were having with the model. When you speak to somebody about a business model in that level of detail, it becomes apparent pretty quickly about whether they're not being entirely sincere about what they're saying. Because as we all know, there's plenty of coaches out there who are making a lot more money from their coaching than they are from the business itself. They may have had 6 months of success with a business model, and they then decide to teach it, and they then just teach it and forget running the business, and that's it. But it became very apparent to me from the call and the way you spoke and answers to the questions that you weren't like that. Like you're quite clearly an expert in the model. You pretty much invented this particular model, and you can continuing to successfully run it. So that gave me a lot of confidence. Plus, obviously, it just made a lot of sense, the whole model. The opportunity, the way you were capitalising on the opportunity, just made an awful lot of sense. I guess it was a combination of the model itself, and you personally seems to be and have proven to be the correct coach for it. Yeah, this is since mid-May when I started selling my biggest winning product. So that's just, like you can see, 333,000 RON, which I think must be somewhere around 65,000 euros.
Really, congratulations for that.
Thank you. And the best thing about this, obviously, it's great in itself, but the best thing is this money is just increasing as I improve and I understand more about the model. I've added another couple of winning products, which are also producing some revenue, but the most part of the revenues come from just one winning product, which I continue to sell to this day.
We can clearly see the pace of your growth from 0 to 800 euros, which is 4,000 lei in daily revenue, to
Yeah.
8,000 lei, which is almost 2,000 euros in daily revenue.
Yeah,
So
exactly that. So it's gone from being like 400-500 euros averaging 3 months ago to pushing 2,000 euros a day.
what was the ROI? What was the return on investment of working with me?
I don't know exactly, but I'm guessing so far like 4 times, something like that. And that's just where we are now. People are always trying to find that blue ocean of opportunity, right? Be a kind of early adopter or whatever else it might be, and kind of hard to find that in the e-commerce world. If you're looking in the normal channels, if you're in just hanging out in your regular Facebook e-commerce groups, you're not going to find that. But there is this little world, which turns out to be not such a little world, where you can still be what I see kind of as an early adopter, where there's very little competition, the market is fresh, the market wants to buy, and there's someone here who can teach you how to do it. So at the very least, if that kind of thing sounds interesting, you can be taught how to run a business like this that's got no obvious capped upside as far as I can see. It can be learnt pretty quickly, it can be applied, it can be automated, it can be scaled. If all of those things sound interesting, then you at least owe it to yourself to get on a call and like I did, and listen to Sergiu, running through the model, running through how it works, running through the success that he's had with it, not just the success that he's had in implementing it, but teaching it, and his student successes. If it sounds interesting, you at least owe yourself to take the time to sit down and hear it direct from Sergiu.
I wanted to ask, how did you face the language barrier? That's not something that I really thought of earlier, so I wanted to ask,
Yeah.
because I see people that are afraid of this language barrier. How do you solve it?
Yeah, and it's a very valid concern. Like I forget it completely now because I'm just used to dealing every day in Romanian. But I was like probably most people are out there who don't speak the language. I was also a little bit intimidated by the idea. But what I've found is it's really not as complicated as you might like to make it seem. There are, the tools out there for automatically translating are, close to perfect now. Like they make small errors, but I mean, initially I was having all of my translations done, by software, and then proofread by a Romanian speaker. And to this day we kind of do something similar. I've got Romanians on my team now, so that comes a little bit easier. But honestly, they don't need to make many corrections most of the time in what we get from technology. So I don't think you really would struggle using technology alone to start with. I don't think it would affect your success in any way. Dealing with Romanians in business, I've also found to be a joy. Honestly, it's been easy, and all of the points in the chain where I've had to deal with Romanians for the sending of and delivery of stock and inventory and all of that stuff has been very, very easy. They've either been
It hasn't been as Balkanic as you were expecting it to be.
Exactly.
I'm really, really grateful that I was able to take you on this interview and just share your opinion about the whole program that you've been through with us and what it's done to you. And honestly, I'm looking forward to see what's the next milestone gonna bring, because I'm 100% sure you're not stopping here.
No way. I'm in it for the long haul. And yeah, thanks. It's been really nice to chat to you and share my experience as well. And I've got nothing but praise, like you've heard. Looking forward to working with you guys, well into the future. So appreciate everything you're doing as well.
Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you for your
All
time.
right.
Have a fantastic day.
Thanks, Sergi.